Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy IBS Yeezus, IBN Yeezus, whichever one you want to call me. And I have with me the most famous person in the group that nobody knows, Sebastian. Was
What's up,
last name
man?
yeah,
What's up?
Mahali, right? W
Mahle,
Molly. All right,
actually.
well,
Yeah.
man,
Uh,
I'm country. Like
I
this
don't know,
is
man.
this is the greatest combination ever. You got a dude from the backwoods of Amherst County and somebody legitimately from South America, like he lives there. So
Exactly.
never in my life would I've thought that one, I would talk to somebody from South America, and two, that I could find Peru on the map. So here we are. Here we are. You probably have never heard of Amherst County, Virginia. And I
Dude,
would
it's stuff you only see in IBN, really.
yeah,
Like
I was gonna say I
Virginia,
would advise you to
Richmond, all
yeah.
these. Suddenly, I know where Short Pump is. Stuff like this. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It just
Yeah,
happens.
just watch where you tread when you come to Virginia, man. But this
No doubt, no
this
doubt.
um this is a funny combination because last year, oh my god, hold on, this guy that's got to be Ronnie. He called cultured swine. But this is one of my favorite guys to come on the podcast. Last year we did or year before last, I think, because last year was COVID. But we did a live,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
we didn't get sued. We didn't get sued for doing. We were the inspiration to Eli and Peyton. We did that
Yeah, it
first.
was 2 years ago, I think, right? Yes,
Yeah,
two
yeah,
years
we did
ago,
that first, and they took it
opening night.
and ran with it with Amazon, man. And
Yeah.
the funny part was nobody else was awake for that game. It was just you and me just talking.
Yes, exactly.
But your
The game
Broncos
was
are a lot.
long, man. I
Yeah,
remember. Yes.
the Broncos are a lot better this year. So we'll start with the
Yes.
AFC West, because that is your expertise, and we'll probably start with your least, no, maybe your second least favorite team, the Los Angeles Chargers. I still want to call them the San Diego Chargers, but the Los Angeles Chargers. Um, Clearly, I think the favorite to contend with the Chiefs.
Hmm.
Um, I think a lot of people have high expectations for this team this year. They
Yes.
made some
Yes.
changes to fix what was an awful run defense last year. Justin Herbert is expected to still continue to make strides, and
They got
then
some big names on defense, man.
yeah, and then Staley is one of the hottest coaches in the league, from the McVay tree as well. What are your expectations for the Chargers? Do you buy into this might be their season this year?
Yeah, I think the Chargers are it's going to depend a lot on like injuries.
Mhm,
Khalil Mack, for example, is a dude who we all know is a beast.
mhm.
But last year he had like a subpar season. I think he only played 8 games or something like that. So if he can play like the whole season, JC Jackson too, I think they're going to be great. On the offensive side, I think that Justin Herbert, we all know he's going to kill it. So yeah, I hope he doesn't. I'm a Broncos
Yeah,
fan, so that's definitely the team I'm expecting to have a worse season than projected. Like if they really play up to their potential of the players they have, it's going to be really really tough for us to make the playoffs, and it's going to be easy for them to make them. Like they're a really good
So
team.
so here's the issue with Khalil Mack, as I jokingly call him primetime Mack, because
Yeah.
when the lights are brightest, your boys show out. Um, I don't know how many primetime games the Chargers have. I see that they got two um home games that are primetime. But I think you're right. I think they were one of the more injured teams, especially on the defensive end. Over the last couple seasons, one of the more injured teams. Bosa was injured for a while. Um, is that what happened to you? We'll get to you, man.
Yeah.
Stop interrupting me. But Bosa was injured. They had some injuries at linebacker, various injuries here and there. Uh, I'm a huge Keenan Allen fan. I love him. And
Yes.
I
Keenan
think he's
Allen's
one of the
great.
more underrated receivers in the league.
The
I
route
would
running
love,
is crazy.
yeah, yeah. I would love for them to stay healthy and see what they do. I would say the Achilles heel for the Chargers will always be the play call, well, not the play call, the decision making,
Hmm.
the analytics portion of Staley's like
Right.
decision making. And of all the people who say they use analytics, I definitely believe he's one of the people that does it. I actually
Yes.
have made a joke offline about making up a segment called analytics with air quotes, because so many coaches will throw that out
Right.
there and it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. Like, that's not analytics, that's just a dumb decision. But
Yeah.
Staley is truly numbers driven, and I feel like there's a part of that approach that people don't really talk about, and that is essentially analytics to some extent are kind of a gamble. If your play calling is not fine tuned, you're gonna crap out a lot. And he had a couple instances last year, especially when the games were the biggest, where he just kind of crapped out a little. And I had made a joke, like, this was the first time, I think it was like the Raiders game, which ultimately didn't really matter, but it was the
Yeah.
first time I saw that it looked like he blinked, like he second guessed himself. If
Right.
he's
Right.
confident if he's as confident as he says he is, and that does show up, then I think the Chargers will be contenders, like that, or at best, I mean at worst, dark horses. Because again, you got a stellar defense on all three levels.
Yes.
They're gonna be solid. Offensively, they can move the ball. We got a question about Spiller. I'm not sure what the
50,
game plan
50,
is on it.
60, 40. Because they have Eckler, right? They still have
Yeah,
Eckler.
they still have
Eckler.
Eckler. I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know what their game plan is with that. And again, you're talking about a coach who is very numbers based, very statistics based. I would say that would be something that would probably change from game to game. They'll
Hmm.
probably go with the hot hand or look at what I would think would be more situational stuff. So if they're in a more passing down type situation, or they're going against teams with slower linebackers, you're going to see a lot of Eckler. Like, that's because
Hmm.
that's what he does.
Yeah.
If they're in positions where they can grind the clock out and things like that, you'll probably see more Spiller. Herbert MVP, I'm not on board with that just yet. Not on board with that.
Yeah. I mean,
What
look,
do you think about that?
Spiller, I think that 50-50 it's going to be really tough. Eckler just had like his best season, you know? So I can't see that. Maybe he ends up with the like the 40% part of the carries, but in that role. Herbert for MVP, I can see it, man. I can, out of the quarterbacks in the AFC West, I think that he and maybe Russell Wilson have the best chances to get the award. But I also think that the division is going to be so competitive that I could see where none of the top guys in the division end up with enough wins, you know, to like, if Aaron Rodgers wins like 13, 14 games again, or Tom Brady gets 14 wins, it's going to be tough for a first place team with like 11 or 12 wins to be in that conversation, you know. So
You're gonna need at least 13 for
yeah,
MVP, I think.
because maybe it even sounds like 14 is a new 13, you know, since you have
Yeah,
like the extra
yeah, because
game.
you got the extra
So
game. Yeah,
yeah, so it's
I
going to be tough.
if
If
Herbert,
Herbert MVP, what's going to
yeah,
happen with your QB?
yeah.
Man, look, it's all about the Super Bowl. It's all about the Super Bowl, Dalton, man. We had Peyton Manning have the greatest season, the greatest QB season in history, you know,
He
and we
was
won. We
awful.
lost the chip, and then we had his worst season ever, one of the worst QB seasons ever recorded, and we won
Yeah,
the Super Bowl, you know. So yeah, I don't care, man. I just hope we win some games, but we'll get to the Broncos later, man.
yeah. I just the double back on the Herbert MVP. So I scouted Herbert when he was coming out of Oregon, and I had went on record and said I thought his junior year was a lot better than his senior year, but with Staley, and even when he got to the league, it seemed like he had more like freedom in the
Yeah.
NFL system to kind of do the things that he was doing in the first college system he was in. I think they switched it up a little on him his senior year. And
Yeah.
so he's a gunslinger. I love it. He's definitely game. I just sometimes get a little worried about his style of play because that whole
It's a
like
little
he
crazy.
yeah, because he's got so much confidence in his arm. Like sometimes
Yeah.
those guys, like you again, the same way you live and die by the analytics, you sometimes live and die by guys who just there's no throw that they
Throw it.
don't think they can't make, you know. And And it's a league that is ever changing. And they're always constantly watching film and picking up on tendencies. And there was a time last year where the Chargers kind of went a little stale offensively. And I
Mhm.
think I would think that now they definitely need to make sure that they are as consistent as possible, because like you said before we got on air, this will 100% be the most competitive division in football.
Yeah. I think
Let's see.
that there's like two things. First, Herbert, he does make he's got a great deep ball, and he
Yeah.
usually hits those. So it's gonna be interesting to see if he can maintain the accuracy that he's shown so far.
Mhm.
And but yeah, I would be mostly worried with what you said about Staley. I think that especially when you have a moment like the one he had at the end of last season, such a defining decision, right? Where everyone was blaming him for what happened, and the game they lost, where no one could believe they lost the game on like what was it? They ran the ball three times and they
Mhm.
stopped them all three times, I think, or something like that. And it's going to be interesting to see if things don't go well, like right off the bat. It's going to be interesting to see how Staley reacts, and if he can keep like the same approach the whole time, or if he's going to start like coaching just crazy, like trying to react to everything that's happening, and it can mess with your head. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does, how he coaches this year.
Yeah, and I think like in watching him last year, if I can catch a couple games this year, I don't think it'll be too hard for me to figure out whether or not his tendencies are a little different. It also looks like we lost my man Sebastian. Again, I'm pretty sure he's a government op. He's back now.
Sorry.
Yeah, now you went to Mar-a-Lago. It's cool. I get it. All right, switching to the next team. A team with a couple question marks, but it's funny. The Chiefs have been one of the most consistent teams in the AFC since the Patriot dynasty went away, and yet every year I feel like they get questioned a lot more than those Patriot teams got questioned, and it ain't because of the quarterback. Maybe it's because of the coach. I don't know. Defensively, they're not as dominant as those Patriots teams, so that might be the problem. But Tyreek Hill is gone. How big of an impact do you think that'll make on this Chiefs offense?
Man, like the stats are going to be there. Patrick Mahomes is going to play. I mean, he's going to be great, and Kelsey too. But there were like a big number of key plays where Tyreek Hill was like catching it in the middle of the field, and he was getting like the extra 30 yards, the first down and everything. I mean, he was a very important player, And the Chiefs, as you said, like they blow out a lot of opponents, but they've had a lot of close games too. Like they don't win the Bills game in the playoffs without Tyreek Hill. So I do think it's gonna be a big loss. He's by no means their most important player. I still think that even on the receiving end, like Kelsey, I'd put him a tad just a bit over Tariq, but I think yeah, they're definitely gonna feel it. On defense, they lost the Honey Badger too, which
Mhm.
is gonna be interesting. He wasn't that great of a player anymore. He was very good. He was good still, but he was more of like a leader there. So it's gonna be interesting to see. They never had like a great defense apart from like the second half of last season in these past couple of years. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I do think that the Chiefs, if they get a couple of injuries, they could be like the team that goes down, like regresses the most, um but still they're the Chiefs. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, you got those three guys on offense, and it's like you always have a shot, at least.
Yeah, and let's not forget about Juju that they picked up as
Yeah.
well. Who's
MVS.
yeah, who's he's tough, man, and
I mean, Juju was
the,
great,
yeah,
he
and
suddenly fell off and everything.
Juju, for what it's worth, I mean, I don't know if you know, but Corey knows, because I slander Juju all the time. But he go hard, man, and he hustle, and he's a yards after the catch guy too. That's like he's not the Tyreek Hill type yards after the catch guy.
Right.
But in today's game, you got to get the ball to playmakers, and then they got to be able to get you extra yards. Juju can do that.
I mean, I still
Um,
remember he had that first season when AB was still with Pittsburgh, I think,
yeah,
and
no,
Juju was
he
he was
will eat.
nice.
Yeah, he
Yes.
will eat. And again, he brings a different kind of physicality to this offense that I think they were missing a little. I could see them getting bullied a little, especially in games where people would go too high with the safeties.
Hmm.
And they would either play man across the board with two high safeties, and you couldn't get Tyreek Hill to flash across like he usually does because they would try to cut him off and things like that. Like it's just little concepts that people did last year, but primarily with two safeties at the top, like some shit you see on Madden. People literally just run man across the board, two safeties,
Yep.
and just sit back and dare Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball, which sounds crazy, but it worked. The freaking
Yep.
Titans started that crap, and that's what really confused them. And I don't know if it was confusion or if they were just not. For me, what I saw when people were doing it, the play designs were a little different. Where like a lot of Andy Reid's plays involve his quickest receivers, the Deshaun
Right.
Jacksons flashing across the quarterback's line of vision, and he's got the option to dump it to that person in space or go deep to the Macklin or to Hartman or whoever he had. Like it
Right.
was always like that kind of concept where he kind of makes you choose, and then he will rotate either that quick receiver flashing across or Kelsey or whoever. Like for the Chiefs, what they do a lot of, if there's zone, Kelsey will sit in the zone. He'll be the
Right.
guy. He'll be the main guy. If it's man to man, he'll just pretty much run a route that kind of gets in the way and Hill gets freed up. But when people were running those two safety high looks, man, like it to me, it just seemed like such a simple concept that it would never
Yeah.
stop a team with so much athleticism. But it really gave them fits for weeks. And at the end of the day, I will say my observation was that Patty just wasn't taking what was given to him. He just refused to check down to the safe throws.
Yeah.
And
He was
that's
still
just
trying
what
to go with like the crazy throws and
yeah.
everything, even though he
And
had
and
the
it's
option.
not about guys with burners. We know they got speed. Hardman got
Yeah.
speed. Moore
I
got
mean, they
speed.
had the guy
Yeah.
with burners,
Hill is more
the
than
guy,
speed,
man.
bro. Hill is more than speed.
You saw that Bills game,
Yeah, I
man.
was gonna say, yeah, you can
Tyreek
just
Hill
look at
had
the
like
Bills
three
game.
plays. No one
Yeah.
else could do those plays, man.
Nobody, yeah, exactly. Nobody else can catch a ball in space
Yeah.
like that and just be that explosive, like immediately changing the
Yes.
game. But Sky Moore and Harmon are definitely no
Yeah. They're
slouches
good
when it
players,
comes to speed. Yeah. This is also true. They don't have a true running back one,
I mean, they
but
haven't had one for like 5 years,
yeah, I was
It's
gonna
like
say I've been told on many a podcast, many a NFL show that running backs don't matter, and Patrick Mahomes is definitely one of the top three quarterbacks in the league, no matter how much you hate him. So I don't want to hear that shit. So I just put it out
yeah.
there. I don't want to hear that. They don't have a running back one.
Yeah,
Okay,
they drafted like a dude in the first round. I think he
yeah,
even play or something. Like I don't know.
they
No one cares,
drafted
man.
my boy Cedric. I can't say his last name, but anyway, they drafted him from LSU,
Yeah,
CES or CH or something like that, whatever his initials are. But
that
anyway,
was like a combo
he.
class.
I mean, he's talented. He just can't hold on to the ball. He's just not
Yeah,
consistent enough for them. And he's definitely not the running back, like the true running back. Yeah, CEH. So I
yeah.
got it right
Edwards
the second
Hilaire.
time.
Edwards Hilaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's not the running back that I think they need. But again, all I know is everybody tells me running backs don't matter. So whoever said that, whoever said this right here, that ain't gonna fly. That ain't an excuse no more.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Mhm.
And Andy Reid's never really had true bruising running backs anyway. He's had guys you could depend on that were playmakers. Like they could get you
He was
yards
playing
if they
like
well, LaShawn McCoy, but like Brian Westbrook
oh,
could get you yards, but he was a threat in the passing game. McCoy
yeah.
was both, but primarily like get him in space and he do work. They don't have that kind of guy at running back. So those guys you honestly are kind of a dime a dozen now anyway. So again, I don't think that really matters.
I
For
mean,
the
in a
Chiefs,
way, like Patrick Mahomes gets a lot of first downs running too. Like
yeah.
he's definitely we
Well,
see him like throw the ball and everything, but he's like a great running back too, a great running quarterback too. Like
you know what it
you can't
is
forget
though
about that.
is when guys are playing that man to man concept, they typically turn their backs to the quarterback a little bit more, and it gives him the flexibility, especially with his pocket movement. Like, he's good in the pocket, moving
Yeah.
around and being slick, but you get these guys running across the field one way or another, and you're moving numbers, and so he gets those matchups where he can take off and run. I wouldn't even consider him a really good running quarterback. It's just what they give him, and he can get 16 yards. Like, that's also one of the best bets of all time last year. And shout out to my boy Maurice and Gregory. They were playing Patrick Mahomes over rushing yards on a regular basis. It was always like 8 or 9. They were playing it on a regular basis, and I'm pretty sure it hit more often than it didn't. It was kind of like a joke at one point where it was like he literally gets 2 8-yard carries a game anyway, and he doesn't get sacked often, so it doesn't hurt him.
Doesn't get sacked often when he runs like way back. He usually throws the ball away or something. Like, he's got nice awareness, I think, on that end.
Yeah. So I would say that
What's the over under for them?
The over. Oh yeah, I didn't do that for the
Chargers.
Chargers. Yeah, hold on. Let me get that. The Chargers over under was 10.5. I know that because I just looked at that. Yeah, it was 10.5. Chiefs got to be like 11 or 12. I feel like people are high on them. Let me see what Vegas says. Nope, it's 10.5 too. Ooh, man, I kind of like that. I had to take a look at their schedule.
I'll go over on the Chargers, and I'll go under on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs they're gonna do like 10 wins or something.
Man,
a lot of things have to go right for them.
Patty going 10-7.
Okay, I'll go over with both. You're right. 10-7 now. It's
I mean, it's a competitive division. It's a competitive division, but whoever wins the division is going to have at least 11. So that's basically what we're banking on. If you think the Chiefs are gonna win the division, take the over. If you think the Chargers are going to win the division, take the over. Same for the Broncos. I don't know what you're thinking about the Raiders, but I would not think that the Raiders would win the division. But but either way, that's pretty much what they're asking here. They play the NFC West this year. Well, then that means the Broncos going to eat because Russell Wilson just destroys the Niners and the Cardinals too. He just can't beat the Rams. So there you have it. I don't know why. But that's a tough out of division setup, but it also depends on when you play the Cardinals. So once again, I would take a look at their schedule. If you got the Cardinals in your first 6 games, that's damn near a gimme win for the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. Like, I don't think they're gonna beat any top team without DeAndre Hopkins.
I think the Seahawks are going to win like 1 game this year, so that should be automatic. 2 automatic wins for everyone.
Don't talk about your former quarterback like that, man.
No, his former team. That's where they effed up. That's where they effed up.
The Broncos. I don't know if you guys know or not, but the Broncos have been claimed as my AFC second team ever since they drafted the homie Jerry Jeudy and Hamels, which I think he's
Jerry Rice Jeudy.
Hamler. Yeah, what I call Jerry Jeudy Rice or something like that.
Jerry Rice Jeudy.
I was tripping because he's never had a quarterback, but we kind of got one this year. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as big of a Russell Wilson fan as everybody else. I feel like he gets away with shitty play, and then he's good for those like garbage time moments where the game's pretty much out of reach anyway, and so then people will look at stats and then it's like, but they were down 2 touchdowns the whole time, and they don't ever point out to some of the poor decision making he's made or how he holds on to the ball too long sometimes. But he had a Super Bowl win, so he's got obviously pedigree. He's not trash. He's a top 7. You say he's a top 7 quarterback for sure.
Yeah, I think top 7, top 8 is where
so he's 1,000 times better than anybody that y'all have had, even including that last version of Peyton Manning. So, so there's a reason to be optimistic. And one thing that people don't ever talk about, but I think they need to do more of, respect the Broncos defense, man. Them boys play hard. They've lost a lot of talent, and they still consistently give team fits. They've had shitty offenses for the last couple years, and they've held their own in both levels. They dealt with a ton of injuries, and again, held their self in both levels. Will you miss Vic Fangio's defensive mind?
Man, I don't think so because since the Super Bowl that we won, like that's 2015, it's
Hmm.
almost I think 6 or almost 7 seasons ago. Um, we've had different defensive coordinators, different coaches. Vance Joseph was a defensive guy too.
Hmm.
We didn't have Vic, and the defense has always been consistent. Like we've even Von Miller left, Chris Harris Jr. left, Akib Talib left. Like we've had a changes on that side, and we've still maintained like a very good level usually. So I'm not really worried about the defense. I think if Jordan Griffith, who's like a dude, I think who was in the Niners for a bit,
Hmm.
he's like a guy we got like for a seventh or something. We traded him, we got them from you. So if he's healthy to start the season, which is how it's looking, I think we're gonna have a very good defense too. And what everyone's expecting is that the offense isn't that bad, right? Last year with Teddy Bridgewater, like y- the defense wasn't suffering that much, but we went for like 4 years after Trevor Simeon's first season, where he
Hmm.
was decent until the last game when something snapped in his head. They sacked him like 4 times, and Trevor Simeon was never the same person again. So we went like for 4 years where the offense couldn't do anything, like anything. It was three and outs constantly, constantly. So the defense was always in a bad spot, and still they competed. They usually had very good numbers. So I'm not worried for the defense at all. I think that the one concern is what you're saying, right? It's Russ. Is can we keep him in the game? I think our defense is good enough to do that, where we're not like down 3 scores or something like that, where we can't. Where he can't like do one Russ magic, fourth quarter magic, and just throw us back in the game from his own mistakes, right? um, I think the Seahawks, for example, they had a lot of years, like some games in the playoffs versus the Packers, for example, right, where they
Hmm.
were down like say 13 points, and that was enough for us to get 2 scores and tie the game, go to overtime. But there was this game against the Panthers, for example, where to go to the Super Bowl, the season where we won it, where they were down like 31 nothing. That 31 nothing after like 2 or 3 quarters, and then the Seahawks started attacking, and Russell was making every throw and everything, and
Hmm.
they ended up losing like 31-28. So he had dug himself a hole too deep that time. I hope that's something we can avoid.
All right. So the next question, because it's got to be asked, you got a brand new offensive coordinator, brand new
Yes.
defensive coordinator, brand new head coach. You got the three main components of your coaching staff all doing this for the first time in this capacity. So the head coach, this is his first time being the head coach, and the
Yeah.
coordinators, this is their first time being the coordinators. Is that concerning to you, or do you think that you guys have enough experience on in your players, because you had some young guys get a lot of reps last year? Do you think
Yeah.
that experience through the trials of the poor QB play and things like that will help
Mhm.
by like help a young coaching staff? So you added a guy like Russell Wilson who knows what he's doing, and then you have guys like Sertan who've come through the fire at this point, and they've shown they can be playmakers and stuff like that. Do you think the players will make up for the lack of experience with the coaching?
I do think so. Like, I think our team was probably the most. I don't know if experience is the word, but the best team that didn't have a quarterback, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
you just had to add someone, and like the team wasn't bad. It's just that, like, we would have probably almost made the playoffs if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't go down, which is
Mm-hmm.
a fun thing to say, kind of. you know, like the difference between Bridgewater and like Drew Lock was so big that the team just plummeted. But I'm a little worried about Hackett, just
Mm-hmm.
because like I'm excited because we've had so many defensive minded coaches. We had we had Fangs for a couple of years. We had Vance Joseph,
Mm-hmm.
so and the offense was so bad throughout their tenures that you're just excited to have like an offensive minded coach. But still, like the Packers system, it looked good, but I'm not sure if he was like a Shanahan type of mastermind, where you could just see like, okay, these guys are playing next level football or something. They're doing something different. or like an Andy Reid, where you just can't, where you can just see, right, that the offense is like revolutionary or something. So I'm a little worried about that. Plus, he had Aaron Rodgers too, which never hurts when you're when you're an offensive coordinator. So I just hope that he actually knows what he's doing, and yeah. But I mean, on the defensive side, I'm not worried at all, really. And I think we have very good players on offense too. Like, if the line sorts itself out, I think that, yeah, I hope Hackett draws some good plays. I'm tired of watching these unimaginative dudes on the sidelines getting paid millions. And I'm like, how many times are we going to do the same the same play? Okay, I I feel like I've spent 4 years without one switch on the line of scrimmage. You see all these teams move the receiver from one side to the other, stuff like that. I feel like I've spent 4 years without seeing that once. So I don't know. I just want some imagination in the backfield.
All right, so let me give you the list of quarterbacks he's worked with. Bruce Gradkowski, Chris Sims, Jeff Garcia, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Brom, EJ Manuel, Thad Lewis, Jeff Toole, and Blake Bortles. And then he was blessed with Aaron Rodgers. So he earned it,
Yeah,
okay? He
yeah,
went through the fire.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
so just a brief background on him that might give you a little insight on what kind of coach he might be or what kind of offense he might run. One thing about Aaron Rodgers is I'm one of, I think, maybe three other people. I think there's a lot of people actually that just don't say it as loud, but he's not a coachable player, man. I don't know if you guys,
Yeah,
if you watch a lot of them, but I would imagine the way he does things is like he just does it Aaron's way. And so
yeah,
I wouldn't I wouldn't judge, like, I'm not judging the QB coach that was with them. I'm not going to judge the offensive coordinator that was with them per se, because a guy that talented anyway, you kind of just let him do what he does. Like, I don't think anybody would judge if it was Peyton Manning. We didn't judge McDaniel when he had Tom Brady, things like that. Like those types of
yeah.
players, you just let them do what they do because they're good at it.
Right.
But he started his NFL career under John Gruden as a quality coach. So I would imagine he's West Coast based, which is
Hmm.
pretty much what everybody is. But especially with Russell Wilson, you probably see a lot more play action, and you probably will see some creativity in the passing attack, and a lot of usage of your boy Noah Fant if he can stay healthy, because he
Um, no, I think we have Albert O now. Noah
okay.
Fant went to Seattle with the
Okay, all right. So
for
dang,
us.
that
Yeah,
sucks. They traded him.
yeah, yeah. We had to
Ah,
trade him, man. It was
well,
part of
never
the
mind
package.
then. But hopefully your tight end's
Albert
good.
O is good, man.
I
Albert
was
O
just
is
all
good.
right.
Like,
As long as your tight end's good, you'll see a lot of usage of him out of some sets that's going to create mismatches, is what I
yeah,
would assume. And a lot of from what I've seen of the evolution of the West Coast, and y'all can't see my air quotes, but yeah, the evolution of the West
yeah,
Coast offense. It's a lot about 12 personnel trying to take advantage of the mismatch of an athletic tight end against a linebacker who's too slow, or a safety or corner that's too small. Like, they try to find those mismatches now in the West Coast offense, and he uses a lot, like, again, use a lot of play action to really create those mismatches as well.
mhm.
Russell Wilson should be comfortable in a system like that. I don't think he have a problem with it. And Russell holds on to the ball and does a lot of extra stuff too, so he probably ain't gonna have a problem coaching somebody like that either, because he's
Yeah.
used to it. So, um, but the talent that the receiving core of the Broncos has suffered. They don't get to display it because they haven't had decent quarterbacks. So I'm happy not only for Jerry Judy Rice, but everybody else, Patrick and all
Yes,
this. Y'all still got Patrick?
man. Patrick went out for the season. He had an
Yeah,
injury in
he got
preseason,
hurt
man. Yeah,
already. Never
yeah,
mind
out for
then.
the season,
So
bro.
just take
That's
everything I just said, throw it out
like
the window.
that's like the one big negative from like preseason. It was where like everyone is excited and everything. That's one of the guys who really didn't want to lose. He was like one of the best red zone players we've had in the past
Mhm.
couple of years. But yeah, I hope like Sutton is gonna be back like 100%. He's like our best deep threat probably. KJ Hamler is looking good too. He was hurt last year, and yeah, you really hope that when we're talking about a slot, a dude in the slot, who's gonna be doing more of his damage across the field. I hope that they can find ways to really use Jerry Judy, like to really exploit him, because the dude can run routes like
Yeah, now
crazy.
he's a yak. He's a yak
Yeah,
guy.
exactly.
Which is why I love him.
Because Sutton is gonna eat with like rusty balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not even concerned about that. I hope that Jerry gets some love too. But then we'll see.
Broncos are at 10.5 wins over under.
Yeah, everyone's a 10.5,
Yeah,
man. I gotta go
because
over, man.
no,
I
I'm
gotta go
telling
over.
you, like
Yeah.
when I said that the winner of this division will have at least 11 games, that's exactly what the odds makers are making you ask.
Yep.
Is because the Broncos odds are actually super high. It's minus 161. I think they have the highest. They have the highest odds. Oh yeah,
Hey,
I was
we still
asking
got
about this.
Kendall,
Yeah, they still
future Hall
got
of
him.
Famer. Yeah, Kendall
I think
Kendall
they did
Hinton,
put
man.
that.
Kendall
They put
Hinton.
that ball in or his jersey in the hall, I think, or something like that, didn't they? Didn't they
Sorry,
put
sorry.
something? They put something of his in the Hall of Fame for that particular game.
Yes,
Like,
yes. I think the jersey or something, man.
yeah,
It was that was the greatest game ever, man. I
yeah.
remember, like for one play, they fooled us for one play where we thought, man, this could
This might
actually
actually
work.
work.
Yeah. First play was so
I'm not
good,
gonna
man,
lie. I'm not
and
gonna
after
lie
that, it
about
was
it
just
too.
woo,
Yeah,
it all went downhill, man.
the
It was
league,
sad.
the league ain't playing that shit. But
Yeah,
so here's the thing. I can envision a scenario where all three teams could win 10 to 11 games, and the one that separates himself will be the one who wins 12. I think
yeah,
12 is your key number. I don't think you're gonna have two teams with 12 wins. So
yeah,
I lean to the experience because when the Patriots used to have these scenarios where the Bills got better, the Dolphins got better, and everybody gets all happy, you always default back to what you know. And what I know is that the Chiefs in a year last year where they looked like they still couldn't figure it out, they were the best team. And I
yes.
don't think we'll catch them lacking like that again.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I think that yeah, last year second place was the Raiders. They had 10 wins and they got into the playoffs too. So yeah, I could see like one team with 13, another team with like 11 making it to the playoffs. It's gonna be really interesting. Like I do think that these three teams are very good. I don't know
Mhm.
how likely it is, what you would need to happen, like schedule wise and everything, to have three teams from the same division in the playoffs. But
Oh
yeah,
no,
it's
with
gonna
with
be
the extra spot is definitely possible, and
yeah,
I don't think anybody is say that on paper 100% on
yeah,
paper. I don't think you can say on paper that it's not because you've got four quarterbacks that are good. I don't think
yeah.
any other division can say that. Like again, look at the quarterbacks: Herbert, um,
Mahomes, Russ.
Mahomes, Russ,
Yeah,
and then even Derek Carr. He's not super trash. Like
no,
I'm trying to think. I don't think they're because I know our division: Stafford, Trey Lance, Drew Lock. Like nah.
yeah,
Um, in the NFC North, you just got Aaron. And then if you go to like even if you go to the South, you got Tom Brady, you got Jameis Winston, you got who Derek Ritter maybe, and and then what else? Like like seriously, you have to do that. You have to be like, well, what else? Like
yeah,
so definitely the best division, and I know some people might think that I shouldn't base that off quarterbacks, but it's the most important position in the game, and they've got four very capable quarterbacks, which means that the defenses get no breaks at all. Um,
yeah.
so definitely the best division in football. Let's go to the Raiders here because I'm not gonna downplay them. They're not gonna be that bad.
That's been
They
happening to me, like
they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be
uh,
competitive.
I've been thinking like when I'm thinking like, okay, like the Chargers, maybe they're great. Justin Herbert is great. They got some new pieces on defense. Maybe Khalil Mack gets injured, like something like that. The Chiefs lost Tariq. They have some new players on the O line. So and then you like you automatically like discard the Raiders when you think about them. But
Mhm.
honestly, they should be better. They have like the whole Gruden plus replacement coach stuff last year. They had they have added Devante Adams,
Mhm.
who is like we all know he's a great player, one of the best receivers out there.
Mhm.
And well, I mean, Josh McDaniels, I think that's the biggest question mark there, like, is he good? Is he not good? What are we expecting? It's like I think that would be my question.
I'm willing to give McDaniels a second try. That was definitely a funny statement. I'm willing to give McDaniels a second try, see how he's grown. The thing about the Chiefs is, or Raiders, sorry, the thing about the Raiders that has always hurt them has been consistency. There are
Right.
games where they just look like, yo, this team, they got it going on defensively, offensively, like, dang. And then there have been games where it's like, did they even show
Show
up?
up.
Like, what's going on? Like, it's always been a hard team to kind of like figure out like who are they? Like what do they do good? Like I knew before Waller's gonna get his, but then you got
Yeah.
games where it's like they're depending on Hunter Renfro, like they're not utilizing Josh Jacobs as well as they should. I don't know, but I think having worked with John Gruden and then getting a coach like Josh McDaniels is again a sign of continued investment in Derek Carr and the
Yeah.
organization thinking that the key to them being better is Derek Carr, who is talented in spurts. He's in spurts he might crack your bottom top 10, like the
Yeah.
bottom portion of the top 10 in spurts. But it's just at the end of the day, it's just again not consistent enough. Defensively, again, I don't really know their identity. They have guys who can get out to the quarterback, but there's just some games where it's like, where did they go? Like, what is going on? So I think the Raiders are a team that if they could just keep everybody out of trouble, stay out of the headlines, and win 9 games this year, they would consider that a successful season and see what they can get next year after a solid free agency or draft. I don't think they're built to win now type. And in this division is going to be hard. It's going to be
Yeah.
hard because the foundation for the Chargers, the foundation for the Chiefs are set. Like they got their core. You know who their
Yeah.
core players are. And
Yeah.
then the Broncos, yeah, they're trying to figure some things out as well, but they still have a defense typically they have a defense that shows up like you kind of know what their identity is. Like
Yeah.
again, you don't know. Yeah, Derek Carr is gonna eat. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
disrespect them.
I mean,
I
he
don't I
really
don't
never
think
doesn't
I
look
don't
like the
think let's put it this way. When the Raiders don't win or they're not as successful as they should be, he takes to me 35% of the reason why, which isn't a lot.
blame.
Most teams I would put it on the quarterback 65-70% of the time. Derek Carr, I really think
Right.
he literally plays as good as he can play. And like you said, he's good when he has weapons. He does whatever he can do as a player. So he doesn't try to overextend himself. He doesn't try to make like risky throws per se on a regular basis. A lot of times it's like a lack of communication with his receivers. He seems to show leadership qualities. So it
Yeah.
ain't like it's a locker room thing. He seems like a
Really more
really
like
nice guy.
you get a
But
feeling that it's more like it's not enough more than him like throwing 3 interceptions in the final 3 drives to end the season. It's like I
you
don't
can
think he's
win
a
with
bad player at all.
Derek Carr.
Yeah,
So
John
yeah,
Gruden
so
is
at the
one
end
for
of
Derek
yeah,
Carr,
so
man.
at the end of the day, it's not Derek Carr. It
Yeah.
might be the guys around him more so than it is him. But you can build a team around the talent that Derek Carr has, and not only be competitive but consistently make the playoffs. In my mind, yeah, Jacobs has not been what they wanted him to be, and again I don't know if some of that scheme because I don't watch a ton of Raiders games, and I know Gruden likes certain backs and likes them to run a certain way, and I don't know if that was one of those things where it just wasn't a good fit. So he gets a new coach. We'll see how Josh McDaniels uses him, and if Josh doesn't like it, then yeah, I mean he's probably got to go. He doesn't have a lot of mileage on him. think I
It's
have to
it's
double check his
it's
numbers.
crazy because like Jacobs, I got his numbers here. Like his total yards, like rushing yards, have gone down every year, but his
Mhm.
receiving yards are going up. So it's like
Yeah,
almost the
because
same.
they don't have like their best receivers, their tight end, and their second
Right.
best option is a white guy
Yeah, that's the
who's not Cooper Cup. Just
yeah
being honest. Like if it was Cooper Cup, yeah, that'd be hell yeah.
yeah.
But it's Hunter Renfro.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
like that's a Devante Adams
No,
is definitely a big upgrade there. So that's gonna be interesting to see. It's
Dallas need this one. This is we've already done the NFC podcast. Two,
that was good
of the
for
NFC
Jacob.
East podcast. Yeah, two. Dallas needs to find an offensive
Man, they
line.
just need they need a running back who's not charging like 10 million a year. You know, that's
Yeah,
what they
well,
need.
that's their fault. Y'all gonna stop. Yo, don't get me started. They be hating on my boy Zeke, man. Zeke earned his money. Y'all bums just paid him too late. You should have just paid
Hey
him when
man,
he asked for it instead of making him
those
wait a year.
those Cancun trips, man, they can get expensive. You know,
Hey,
it's all inclusive, but the women ain't. You know, like
I went to Cancun and pulled Zeke back, man. They need to thank me. I got the pictures to prove it. That was definitely one of my funniest posts. All right, NFC West time. The
do it.
Rams.
The
the
champs.
the Rams. Fuck them, man. They shouldn't have been champs. Kyle Shanahan is just a bum.
Yeah.
Why did we run at Aaron Donald and why did we pull Trent Williams? Like, why did that play even occur? Is what bothers me. But Rams, hey, they're back. Um, some alarm bells. Stafford has like a shoulder or elbow thing. I think I can't remember what it was. It was something about like him throwing like 80 times and people were like concerned. I don't know. But the defense is back. That's really what matters. Cooper Cup is back. That's really what matters. Odell Beckham is not.
Yep. Yeah, I think the defense is back, but like, man, Von Miller played great for them in the playoffs, like historical great. I know it's because like most of the attention is on Aaron Donald. You know, like
Mhm.
he's definitely the best player of the defense and like the best defensive player in years in the NFL. But still, like Von Miller played like some superstar God mode defense there in the playoffs. So that's not like a minor loss, I think, just for the playoffs. Like he wasn't great in season when they picked him up and everything.
Mhm.
After that, like Cooper Cup, he's also one of the best players out there. So you always want to like he's already had like a major knee injury, so you obviously don't want him to you want him to stay healthy and everything. But yeah, I don't know. Like there's usually like champions like they have a tough time repeating, right?
Mhm.
It's in the NFL especially. Everyone except Tom Brady, you know, usually gets their
Which
ass kicked like the last
cheater.
year. Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
So
no. Yeah,
they're still
Ronnie, I
gonna
said it.
be, but they had so
Everybody has
many right
been
there.
inconsistent except for Tom Brady because
Yeah,
Tom Brady's the exception. Yeah, all right.
Guerrero, you know. I want to eat what Guerrero's cooking, man.
Yeah, right.
But
Allen
nah,
Robinson
anyway,
to eat. You know what? You know
yeah,
what, man? Allen Robinson. I'm gonna try to be nice. He played in a really poor situation. Receivers are some of the most emotional players on the field. So there has been evidence of guys just being like, yo, I'm just out here so I don't get hurt and I can get paid. And then they get to a team that's good and then they just show out. So Robinson
right.
should eat. Should eat.
You should, yes.
I still say my boy McVay be holding out sometimes, but hey, he won the Super Bowl, so I guess I got to shut up for at least 3, 4 more years. But I wonder
I
about the
mean, it's
focus of the Rams because even
it's so much
McVay had
more.
mentioned like retiring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then Aaron
Yeah, that
Donald
seemed
was
like or something. It was a little
yeah,
weird. Donald held out and everything.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. But it's I just feel like man, they had so many things go right for them, like in that run, you know. Um, even the Super Bowl for moments it seemed like if it wasn't because it was the Bengals, and like they were
mhm,
running on fumes, it seemed. If they were playing the Chiefs, I felt like they would have gotten blown out. The Bengals let them, and well, the Rams defense obviously had something to do with that, but like for all we hear about McVay and the offense and Stafford and Cooper Cup and everything, like it was really the defense that bailed them out there in a number of games. So yeah, I don't know, man. If the offense slips a little bit, it's gonna be tough to repeat or even win the division, because I mean, yeah, you got the Niners there who should be better. I don't know if Kyler is going to be studying hard this summer, like if they send him to summer camp or something. But yeah, if they if they don't, I think they have to play better on offense if they want to repeat, like as a whole. Cooper Cup can't do everything, man.
Can you trust Stafford? Good question.
You can trust Cup. You can trust Cup. That's what I know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
I
like
was
what
gonna say,
happened in the Super Bowl. If he gets the ball to Cooper Cup, like and Cooper Cup can play, good things will happen, But yeah, I don't know, man. It's like 2 seasons in a row of that, that type of play, even for a great player like him, that it just doesn't happen like often. So yeah, I don't know. Can you trust Stafford, man?
I know that probably is a question for me. Um, kind of, kind of. Um, I would need a real sit down and have to ask him what is he looking at when he's throwing downfield, because there were some throws last year. Uh, the one that
Yeah,
Tart dropped for the Niners, like
dude.
what the hell? Like that didn't make
Yeah,
any sense. So
it-
I would have to ask. I would have to ask him to see the field short to long, not long to short, because that's what he likes to do anyway. Look deep first. And
right.
I thought Jim Bob Cooter, my boy Jim Bob Cooter, shout out to Corey and Jim Bob Cooter. I thought Jim Bob Cooter had fixed that, but I guess not. So
Yeah,
if he starts short to deep, I think he's fine. But if he goes back to the old Stafford where he's looking downfield first, and it's like, bro, no, 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 no. So you got to just reel him in. And I think McVay at times did it in a very nice way by switching up the way they called plays. There was times where it just seemed like they were giving up on drives and just not allowing him to throw the ball downfield. But I
yeah,
also think that, for what it's worth, Stafford hasn't really earned that right. Like, bro, this is first Super Bowl. He's never been like a consistent winner. He's definitely got the talent and stuff. But for me as a coach to give a backseat and care about what a guy thinks, I feel like they need to be like what I would consider elite or
right.
great, put it that way. And I think Stafford's good. I haven't seen enough greatness to put him in that category where I would personally try to coddle his feelings. I'd have been like, bro, cut this shit out. Take
Yeah,
what they're giving you. Stop throwing it downfield because you got a defense that's gonna bail you out. But
right,
they need a break. They need a break. You got
right.
weapons.
He's
Cut
not on the
holes
Lions
open.
anymore.
Yeah. Like you don't have to be throwing the ball down the field like they're being reckless. But yeah.
Yeah.
Rams, let's see. 10.5. I got the over.
I think I'm going under, man. I just don't.
Damn. Under.
I know, like they got 2 automatic wins in the Seahawks. I think that's a given. The Seahawks, I really think they're not trying to win at all. So yeah. But other than that, I think like they should be the team in the division that regresses the most. I think that the offense is not going to be as good. I think losing Andrew Whitworth, man, we haven't talked about that, but that's a dude like I'm not. I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't really. I'm not a line expert, especially. But there's so many players who talk great about him. Opponents, defenders, and everything. Where it's
Mhm,
like that dude must have been important. And a lot of what McVay does, like or the Shanahan offense does, and everything,
mhm.
it really starts at the line of scrimmage. You gotta win it. You gotta have dudes who can block while moving as a
Yeah,
group,
no,
like to
you
the
gotta have
side and
good
everything.
feet. Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
have good feet. You gotta have smart players and everything. And he seemed like he was even at like 40 was one of the most important players there. So yeah, I think that he's the. I think I'm going under there, man. Yeah, under
Yeah.
is still 9 wins or something. It's not like they're gonna have 4 or something. But yeah, still
Yeah.
9, 10.
I only say over because I don't think the Cardinals are going to be that good this year. I feel like the team that's going to take a step back is the Cardinals.
Uh,
And I know the Niners have been consistent with beating the Rams, and even if we split, I feel like like you're going to be dependent on the Rams to lose a lot of out of division games, and they've shown so far as a good home field for them, man. Like they
yeah,
pretty tough at so far. So I don't know if I can truly get behind that, but if you do think that they're going to go under, then this team would probably take their place in like the top two, and you
right.
anticipate them going over. Problem with that is Hopkins, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I would guarantee you he accounts for just as much offense for the Cardinals as Devontae Adams did for the Packers. And if you want me to reiterate Devontae Adams' contributions, 33% targets, 33% yards, 33% touchdowns, like literally 33% of the entire offense.
Right.
And when
Right.
Devontae wasn't there, they got a quarterback who's a who's back-to-back MVP, a Super Bowl winner,
Yeah.
and just an immense talent in Aaron Rodgers. So they were still able to overcome that. My boy, Call of Duty, Kyle Murray is not that. Is not that. We haven't got to
Right.
the Niners yet. He is not that. So, with that being said, what are your expectations for the Cardinals? Does Cliff Kingsbury get fired?
Man, he should probably. It's like I mean, first I wanted to say like I think that the Rams are going to be second in the division and still miss the playoffs. But I think that the Cardinals are going to be worse. Like, man, I can't really judge Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. I feel like we don't read much about him. There's always that implicit bias. Like when so maybe we don't see that many stories about him and his character and his life and how he loves the flag and to put in effort and everything. But it's like he really doesn't seem that interested, man. And Kingsbury, yeah, he doesn't seem like a good coach. Like he's okay and everything, but man, they just have so many moments where the team just like you saw the Cardinals, like especially after they started losing their first couple of games because they started like 6-0, 7-0 last year or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, the whole team looked like off. Like they didn't want to be out there for moments, no effort and everything. So yeah, I do think Cliff Kingsbury is going to get fired at the end of the year. If he doesn't, it's more because of like having stuff on the owners or something like that. Maybe they like I don't know, man. But yeah,
Cliff
they
is Cliff is. Ugh. I like Cliff. I cape for Cliff, and I know people are waiting to bump those posts. He kind of a buffoon, man. I can't lie.
yeah.
he do. You want to talk about somebody that do some dumb stuff on fourth down? Oh, here we go. 60% of the red zone offense before getting hurt, only about 70% of the offense between the 20s. Okay. Thank you, fact checker. If you're not supporting
Right.
my eye test, get the hell out of here, Grum. No, I'm just playing.
Mhm.
Kyler is out. Kyler's not out, man. They just gave that man a contract. If anybody goes, it's gonna be Cliff. But that's weird because Cliff is there because of Kyler, or Kyler's there because
Yeah.
of Cliff. I can't even remember anymore. But either way, it's just weird how their relationship doesn't seem like two guys who knew each other. Um, but the biggest issue with the
Yeah.
Cardinals outside of how they play without DeAndre Hopkins, my observation was they didn't have a lot of chemistry with the other guys. Like they had AJ Green on the field. Now, was it AJ Green has
Yeah.
taken a couple steps back, or was it
Yeah.
AJ Green literally like they just didn't seem like they were in sync? And like you said, effort was not there.
I mean, AJ Green, he was already like subpar on the Bengals the last couple of years.
Yeah,
But so you still think that I think they should more think about him, or they thought about it more like what we're all projecting that Julio is gonna be with Tampa Bay this year, like some
not what
since
I'm
he's a tall dude, like
projecting.
a glorified tight end, just catching
Yeah,
passes in the red zone and stuff. But I think that the bigger addition this year is Marquise Brown, right? That's the guy
yeah,
who he
Hollywood.
also played with Kyler.
Yeah, and
He's a nice
Oklahoma.
piece. So yeah, I mean, I think that should definitely improve, but it's still like it's just a player. I don't think that and he's definitely not D Hop. So I can't see it, man. I think that after this season and once Kingsbury goes, they have to change a lot there. Um, because I don't know.
Maybe Eric B will get a job, man, with the Cardinals. That'd be
Hey,
nice.
why
That'd
not?
be nice.
Why not? You
I
know?
think Kyler would be very successful with a I think he'd be very successful with a Andy Reid type system. He is the out coach versus QB like Flores versus Tua. Well, I mean, they just gave him a contract extension. Like, of course he's out. Like, just guaranteed him
Yeah,
$160 million. Like,
that's that.
that's a no brainer. Cliff got to
Yeah,
go. Like,
yeah.
okay, and I don't think Cliff. I mean, I don't think that's a secret. Like,
You
you
could buy
invest
like a
$160 million into somebody, like as a
20.
guarantee. Yeah, you out. So
You could buy like 20 of those weird parasite houses that Kingsbury has. You know.
the over under on this team is 8.5. Do keep in mind that they play 6 games without DeAndre Hopkins. I had them not even potentially winning 50% of those first games. So I had them starting like 2-4 maybe. So with that being said,
2-4. That's 6 games, 11 games out. They win 5 more. They go 500. That's what's the over under? Sorry,
8.5.
8.5. I could see them at 8, man. Like, I just don't think this is gonna be a good team, And
We
like,
didn't
okay,
even,
you have
and again, we didn't even talk about the defense and how they've got some issues with that. But here's the first 6 games: Chiefs, Raiders,
ah,
Rams, Panthers,
tough.
Eagles, Seahawks. I don't think they
Okay,
win 3 games. I think
they got.
they go 2-4.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same. Like Seahawks and another team you said there, Panthers.
I don't think they
And
beat the
you never
Panthers.
know. Like even Baker Mayfield, man. Maybe he's on a mission this year. So they might even go 1-5, man.
So
So
look, they're not gonna because they got an East Coast swing. All right, so
three and
after
three.
week
Whoa,
seven, after week
got some
seven,
optimistic people here.
yeah, after week seven. Well, I'll explain to you why I think they're not gonna win both games. So when they play the Rams on the 25th, they go to the East Coast, they play the Panthers, and then they got to come back to the West Coast and play the Eagles. That swing, that travel swing, always hems up teams, man. And yeah, I think the Panthers defense is
Yeah,
pretty decent, and the Panthers are getting them at home, which is good because then next week I'm going to be there for the 49ers game, which is the
nice.
ninth, and that's going to be good for us. But I think that East Coast swing is that East Coast and then back to the West Coast, and then back to or you start West, go East, and come back West. That's typically like the spots where you see people just kind of lose a game just because of the travel. Now,
Yeah,
after the Seahawks, they host the Saints, which is a Thursday night game, it looks like.
yeah.
So they'll host the Saints, then they get the Vikings, they play the Seahawks again, Rams, Niners, Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Buccaneers, Falcons, Niners. Like, bro, I don't know about
Yeah.
y'all, man. I'm saying like it ain't getting no easier after that 6 week.
Yeah, I can
They're gonna
see it
have
like
2 games against the
6.
Niners. So out of their last 11 games, they play the Niners twice, they play the Buccaneers, they play the Broncos, they play the Chargers, they play the Rams. So that's six tough games right there too. Like
Yeah.
that's not an easy schedule, man. When you already to me gonna start 2-4 at best 3-3, like that's tough.
Yeah,
That's a real
you
tough schedule.
like that's 6 games. You can like 5 or 4 games. Say they win 5 or 4, but 7.
Mhm.
Even if they start 3-3, which is like to me, it's overly optimistic. I I mean, if the over under is 8.5, I'd go under, man. I think that's. I mean,
I
someone's
can't
got to lose.
I can't honestly say they're gonna beat the Vikings. We
Yeah.
got to see what the Vikings look like, but the Vikings got them at home, and they're gonna have the McVay prodigy coach again. Everything McVay coaches touch becomes
Right.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would be highly disappointed if my boy from the Bengals and the Chargers were able to make their teams instantly good, and this guy
Yeah,
comes
and the
to the
Vikings
Vikings and
too.
they're not good. All right,
Someone let Kirk Cousins make the playoffs, man.
because people keep asking me all these stupid questions. No, he's not staying with the Niners. Now he probably is staying with the Niners. I
He's
don't
staying
know,
on the
man.
bench.
I mean, it's. I get why they did it. One, his current contract was not. He's not tradable in the current
Yeah.
contract, so that's a plus. It does save the Niners money too, which is another plus, and it gives him a little control about where he can go, which is a plus for him. If I'm Jimmy G, bro, I'm making it difficult too. Imagine if he gets sent to DC or if he got sent
Yeah.
to like Seattle. Like, yeah, I don't want to go to those places either. Like, I'm again as a fan, I wish we had got rid of him earlier, but as a person who can think that like, yo, if that was me, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd have opted for surgery too. Matter of fact, I got 2 surgeries coming up. Like, you
Yeah,
don't want to go to those dead ends.
I think like Jimmy G is a dude who has already kind of proven who he is, you know? I
Mhm.
think so there's no need for him like when he was on the Patriots to leave to play, you know? I mean, you obviously want to play and everything, but it's not like, okay, Jimmy G needs to go to the New York Jets or something like that just to have playtime and earn a contract or something. No, he's getting paid right now already. So
Mhm.
it's like why not just stay there for a year until you find the right situation? In any case, Trey Lance runs around like crazy. You know, you never know if he can get injured here or there, like a minor thing. Let him play a couple of games, you know, and be the hero here and there, and like have an easy year collecting 30 million. You know, I don't see why. Like he seems like a dude who would rather choose that than going to like the Lions or something
Mhm.
to get his ass kicked for a year. You know, like I just don't
Yeah.
see why he would do that. Like,
The thoughts of Jeff Rushing or Jeff Rushing's thoughts alone, they're not a reflection of IBN. I just want to put that out there.
deep.
But I will say too, Micah Parsons' future on defensive player of the year is probably definitely a lucrative investment.
Yeah, I mean,
So what
it's got the
is
hype
this?
machine going. You
What
know,
is this? What is this? No, bro, no. I would take Aaron Rodgers in a heartbeat. I would take
man.
no. Listen to me, man. Aaron Rodgers is a fiend, man. He kind of an addict. Y'all ain't
Yeah.
listening to the man. He ain't crying for help because he's a functional
Yes.
addict. But he's
Yeah.
definitely got some issues going on. It ain't the psychedelic either. You popping
He looks
perks and
like
playing,
bipolar or
yeah.
something,
You
man.
popping perks and playing football,
Definitely.
man. You a wild boy. You a wild boy.
I've seen
He
some
ain't
crazy
choking
people,
in the.
man.
Have you seen the Niners defense in these last couple playoffs we've been in? He ain't choking. He don't got to do nothing. All he got to do is
Yeah.
not lose the game. Which, honestly, he didn't lose the Packers game. The special teams did. So again,
Yeah.
like, come on over, Aaron Rodgers. Don't listen to these people, bro. You can play T42 with me. No homo. But you could do that. I don't care. Go ahead. Like, I had to make sure I chase that. Hey, yo, chill. But you could play on our team. Like, I don't care. So yeah, I'm not. I mean, again, I have my criticism of Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers, but I'm not taking him. I'm not taking Jimmy G over him. Here's the thing with Trey
No,
Lance for me.
it's
I
going
gotta
too
see
far.
Trey Lance play before I start being like Trey Lance is sorry, he not the one. I expect a deep learning curve, uh, just because of what I saw of him at North Dakota State. Wasn't that complex. They didn't
Yeah.
ask a lot of him, and he had the freedom of being the best athlete on the field generally every time he stepped on the field. You are not that in the NFL. Rarely are you that in the NFL. So you need you need you need to give him some time to kind of adjust. So I haven't even watched a lot of the preseason stuff because I expected there to be the up and down, highs and lows. I hope he works
Right.
the kinks out. He seems like, from what I saw of his mechanics, the issues I had with his mechanics, it seemed like he worked on those during the off season. It seems like the Niners are invested in him as a franchise
Yeah.
quarterback. So those things sometimes take a couple years. So I just want to see what we have this year. Again, all I ask and all I've ever asked of a quarterback since Alex Smith is don't lose the game, which Alex Smith was doing in his last year, and then he got high hand by Colin Kaepernick, who kind of lost us a couple games. We can also blame Kyle Williams, but at the end of the day, you're quarterback with a really good fucking defense like the Niners have had, like
It's a good
just
team, man.
don't lose the games. Don't lose the games. You got guys who make plays for you. Trey Lance's deep passes are a million times better than Jimmy G. And one of my biggest criticisms of Jimmy G is that he's a reluctant deep passer, which means you can look at like pretty much anybody in the NFL and football in general. You make a throw and you're not that confident in it, it kind of shows.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're throwing deep, like it kind of shows. And that hesitation is typically, especially at the highest level, that hesitation is usually what gets you picked off or gets the pass broken up or gets your receiver just
you give those safeties, those corners like an extra split second, an extra second, and they can just read it. It's like, okay, Ben.
I don't think that's necessarily true. In spurts, it depends on what team you're talking about. Like you got guys like Joe Burrow, again, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen,
right,
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Like I wouldn't say you're obsessed if they're on that kind of level because you need people like that for sure. But when you're talking about like a Jimmy G, I think he is expendable. I thought he was expendable when we gave up a second round for him. I didn't like that. Deep throw ain't shit without the rest. Also, kind of disagree. Depends on the offense you're in. We need that. Like the Niners offense needs a deep threat because it opens up everything else. Like my expectation is that people will finally get to see the full Kyle Shanahan offense. Now, whether it's going to be great or not, that's neither here nor there. But if you remember Kyle's system at each level or at each team he's been to, when he has a quarterback who can go vertical, who can stretch the field, he utilizes it effectively, and it opens up everything else. And one thing about Kyle's offense is he's always got guys in motion. He's always got guys going to different spots that are not typical of what you see in route combinations. And he's even added wrinkles to that in his red zone game. And that's what makes him like the innovator that he is on the offensive side. I think Ronnie, if he was on here, would also attest that I complained about the Niners offense a lot last year offline, and I constantly complained about how Kyle wasn't using the motions. And the motions, the motions, well, I mean, it is, but my expectation is that we run the fucking offense the right way.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because he didn't have the confidence in Jimmy to do it because Jimmy hesitates on throws and stuff. But the real success of the Niners offense comes between the hashes. And in order for us to get the looks that we want, we put people in motion. We put everybody in motion. Kyle's first year or so, he had everybody in motion, fullbacks in motion, tight ends in motion, like anybody that could move, he would move them around and create the numbers that we need to attack zones or attack man-to-man or just attack parts of the field. It was always a numbers game. And then for some reason we got away from that last year, and it made a lot of games more difficult than what it should be. And I don't think it was a personnel thing because we've had the same personnel. We've always had a million running backs that get injured. We've always had Debo. We've always had somebody underneath. And I'll say to Ayuk, dude didn't even want to use Ayuk. I think he had him as a coaching decision to not play last year. And I was complaining about that. Like, yo, what the fuck? We gave up a first round. Like, we drafted this dude in the first round. Regardless of what you think about it, the man's hands is ridiculously huge. His measurements are wow. Like he's like, just put him out. He's like 6 foot, but he's got the catch radius of like a 7-footer. Like it's just some crazy freakish like long arms and stuff. So like, bro, you can use him and he's athletic. Why are we not using him? And then I think it came around like week 4 or something. Like they eventually added him to the office, and now everybody's like, "Oh, you can kind of good." Like no shit. Right. I don't know. Again, my theory is that Kyle's an arrogant asshole, much like his father, and he just doesn't want to. Like he just wants it his way, and if he doesn't see it, then it doesn't get done, regardless of what everybody else thinks. It's what Kyle wants, and that is a gift and a curse. And I think it cost us the NFC Championship, and I think it kind of cost us a Super Bowl to some extent because that we should have been way more aggressive at the end of that half. And I know people are like, "Oh, it's just one play." No, we really needed those fucking points because
Right.
you're never going to hold a team like the Chiefs offense under 20 like 4 on a regular
Yeah.
basis. Like you gotta score. And like it's just like you have the opportunity to go for 7. You should go for 7 when you play good offenses. Like never leave points on the board. I don't care how good your defense is. Um so that's my thing on that. Defensively, I think we'll be fine. Looking forward to a healthier defense. Not the biggest fan of D'Amico Ryans, but he gets it done. So we'll see. As long as we stay healthy, Bosa's a beast. Trent Williams is
Yes.
a beast.
Dude,
Um,
Bosa
Arik
is
Arik
beast.
Arm Arik Armstead's been solid. Still wish we had Buckner, but he's been solid. And our secondary is supposed to be better this year. I'm very excited to see how those young boys play and if they're aggressive and if they catch the ball when it's thrown to them because that costs us a
Right.
game too. But
Yeah, I think
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think with Trey Lance, it's like when I saw him play last year, I was like, okay, this dude, like, he's definitely an athlete. Definitely, like you could see that it just pops off the screen.
Mhm.
But it's like, okay, maybe 2 years. Like it did seem like he had a lot to work on. So it's gonna be interesting to see, like, they clearly feel confident enough in his improvement, where it's like, okay, let's just go with him, full-time starter and all. But I mean, I think that the 49ers, they're so good. Like, what I was talking about, right? I had Vance Joseph and Vic Fangio for 2 years, and these dudes, these OCs who were just terrible. And the Niners are like the exact opposite of that, like the best team for me in the league when it comes to creativity and the lines play and the line play and all. So yeah, man, if Trey Lance is like just a tad above average, because Jimmy G was average and they were working some magic there, you know. If he's like average plus the deep ball, it's a completely different team, man. It's like the you suddenly have the firepower to compete with the Chiefs and these types of offenses, who where where you can get 7 almost any time, just because the way the scheme is, you're always going to try and almost always going to have someone who's running by himself if you want
Mhm.
to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You look at Ayuk's tape. The main thing that stands out about that man is he's a yak monster. His like physical gifts are just so like they just stand out. I thought the Niners reached for him when they basically took him where they took him in that spot. If you do that, you have to play him. You have to play him. And he's a pretty decent route runner. I would say he's a good compliment to Debo Samuels, but it is what it is. I I wish
Yeah.
I knew who was saying that so I could address you personally. But again, it's not Trey Lance is more than just a deep passer, so it's not like that's
Yeah.
all he has.
No, it's
I'm
like
just
the running
saying
part
that
also,
particular attribute is what we really, really needed, and I think
Yeah.
that's why his getting put as a starter is what expedited the process. There's too many games, man, too many games where Jimmy G just was not pulling the trigger, and that
Yeah.
cost us games where we needed to get that like big play. Or
It seemed
again in the Super Bowl, he needed to complete that pass to Emmanuel Sanders. Like that's a play that you only get one shot at, and he was wide open, and then he hesitated, and then he had the audacity to overthrow him after he hesitated. Like, damn, man, like what the hell is going on? So it's I don't have a problem with them moving up or speeding up the clock on Trey Lance. We got a good enough defense that as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, it shouldn't like he should be able to learn on the job. And I'm hoping
yes.
that he does that. The over under for the Niners wins is 9.5. That's absolutely disrespectful. I'm taking the
Over.
over. Yeah,
Easy. Yeah.
that's a smack in the face. And what could possibly be the worst team in the division, we'll give them 2 minutes.
The league. The
Yeah.
league.
My 2 minutes is just letting everybody know that Jamal Adams is absolutely overrated. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
You can record this clip and play it back for Corey. I'm going to record this clip later and save it for our very first NFL podcast, and I will play it for Corey every time we talk about the Seahawks. He is overrated. I won't call him trash because he's still a good athlete, but he is the most
Right.
delusional secondary player in the NFL. He is not that good of a safety. He's just not. And he should just go. I don't. That's even more of a reason to slander him, Jeff. He's a Texan. he's a drunk, is what he is, man. He just be talking out his neck. I can see DK Metcalf is about to quit on them boys, man. I can tell by his body language. He does not want to be there.
Drunk uncle at the party, Jamal Adams, man.
Yeah.
Like definitely the most delusional secondary player, if not for Eli Apple, who just had to open his mouth prior to the Super Bowl. So that sticks. But man, the Seahawks, they aren't trying to win. They just aren't, man. No, if you have a QB competition that's Drew Lock and Geno Smith, you're not trying to win. You can't convince me otherwise, man. Not much more has to be said. DK Metcalf, give him like half a season or something. He's gonna be demanding trades, and like he should be. And yeah, I don't think they trade him because I do think they're just looking at next year's QB class, and you got some great names there supposedly. I don't really watch college football that much, so I'm not that in the loop.
That's sad to hear, bro. You missing out.
Yeah, it's just Saturdays is for Peruvian soccer, man. What can I
Oh
say?
yeah. You're fine. You're fine.
Got other obligations.
I forgot the cultural aspect. You're good.
Yeah. No, but it's like they're not trying to win. That's basically it,
Yeah.
So if they win like 2 games, I'd be surprised, honestly.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if they don't win, if they're not competitive, your man's DK Metcalf about to be he gonna make every single diva before him just not seem like they exist. You got a 6'9" bodybuilding Flash with pink hair,
Everything.
acting as zesty as he could possibly be. God bless you, man. God bless you.
Gonna be some sass.
It's gonna be an awful season for them, and I do feel sorry for their receiving core because you go from Russell Wilson to this trash. That is awful. But either way, they suck. Let me see what their win total is. Oh, it's 5.5. I'm pretty sure that is the lowest win total. That's even lower than the Lions. The Lions were 6.5. The Bears were 6.5, and the Seahawks are 5.5. Going with the under.
Can't see it, man.
Yeah,
I'd go under if it was 2.5.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I don't even know if. I mean, they do have quarterback options. Bryce Young is one of them, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure like what they can do. I really don't. So Sebastian, this is probably your last chance to come clean about this. Are you a Fed?
If I was, I wouldn't say it. I can't confirm or deny.
Why you speak better English than me? I don't understand this. I don't even hear a Spanish accent. I feel like that's fake. But I did see you singing. English. Yeah, I was gonna say I did see you singing in Spanish. Yeah, that's when I was like, well, damn, he might not be a Fed, or he might just be really good at his job. I haven't figured it out yet.
Hey, we got some FBI agents, working the border a lot. It's like second generation Mexicans.
I'm just letting you know, this is the second time we've done this. And then it's the first time I've said gambling things around you. If I get audited, I'm going to fight you.
What can I say, man? Just pay your taxes, bro.
God damn it, man. I knew this was a setup. All right. Well, Sebastian, I appreciate you coming through, bro. We will be back with a less popular person than Joe Matz next week.
Less popular bald man.
Yeah. yeah, he's bald too. Actually, not next week. We got to wrap this thing up. So I am doing a college podcast on Thursday. We are bringing back the college football podcast. It will not have Marcus, but Patrick is pretty much trying out. And so if Patrick sucks, we'll
it's going to be funny.
At Marcus back. So Marcus is on standby, but we'll have Patrick through and we'll try to build up some hype. And then me and Joe will probably do like next Monday or Tuesday, wrap up the AFC NFC South and get you guys going for the season. I will be out of town on the 7th through like the 13th. So the first week of the NFL recap show will be on a slight delay, but I should still be able to participate in the podcast or live stream that we do on Sundays. It'll just be from Austin, Texas, the burial site of the Texas Longhorns come September 10th. All right. So for Abien, Yeezus, and Sebastian, thank you guys for checking us out.
Peace.